Hey, it's Ranger Russ back at the Meigs Nature Center. I am in the water room again today. We're doing a live animal, a very special animal. I know I say all the time it's my favorite animal, but I'll tell you some reasons why it should be your favorite animal too. And by the end of the day, maybe you'll think it's your favorite. Before we get started, we have to do our reminders. Everybody needs to wash your hands. They're 20 seconds, warm, soapy water. Don't burn yourselves, but make it pretty warm. Cough into your elbow. We got to get complete cough into your elbow. Keep social distance. 3 possums away from one another at all times, unless you're in the same house with them, and then you don't have to. We are keeping the parks open for now, but we have to maintain social distance even if you're out in the park. So please follow the rules that you see at your local state parks. Now, I'm going to get right into the animal because the animal we're talking about right now is a really hard one to find. So I'm going to flip the camera around because we're talking about a windowpane flounder. And they have such excellent camouflage that sometimes it's hard to find them in the tank. So right here we can see coming up, there is our windowpane flounder. So hopefully everybody can see that there. Now the windowpane up, the lobster's going to go right over the top of him. He didn't like that too much. So the windowpane, we have a few different flounder that are found in Long Island Sound. The windowpane is the smallest. I'm trying to keep up with it as it goes. And they have very wide fins that are pretty see-through, which is how it gets the name windowpane. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to see if we can catch it. I have a tank on the side, and we're going to do a little experiment with the windowpane flounder. But the first word we need to talk about is camouflage. Camouflage is how this fish is able to disappear and blend in with its surroundings. So, get him out of the net. There we go. Let's see if it settles down. Now, if you notice, at the bottom of the tank, we have a dark side and a light side. We're going to turn the lights out and see if this flounder will change color. Now, we're hoping to see, it's not going to be a drastic color change, but take a look. He's chosen the dark side to settle down on. And we're going to move over to this tank and talk a little bit more about flounder, because in here there are 2 other windowpane flounder. I'm not sure if you were going to be able to find them. I know where one is. So you remember we did a program on this tank. We did the striped bass. You can look at our previous programs on meigspointnaturecenter.org in the Virtual Learning Center. You'll get to see the whole program on the striped bass. Now, underneath the striped bass, you see those little eyes sticking up? There's another windowpane hiding in the tank. Very, very cool. It completely buried itself. So not only do these fish have excellent camouflage, but they also can bury themselves, which makes it almost impossible for you to find them unless their eyes are sticking out, which is the case with this one. The reason they will sometimes leave their eyes sticking out is because they need to find their prey. The food that they like to eat will be swimming by. They eat bottom-dwelling animals like crabs and shrimp, and they will also catch smaller fish that are swimming past. And they have sort of a vacuum method of catching fish where they open their mouth very quickly and it creates a quick vacuum, sucking the small prey into their mouths, and then they will swallow it whole. And here we have another flounder. This is a summer flounder, and we'll probably do a whole program on the summer flounder as well, but this one's not buried. He's completely out in the open right now. The summer flounder get larger than the windowpanes. The windowpane flounder only get about 17 inches. So they're not very, very large flounder. All right. And when flounder are babies, so the female flounder will lay eggs. The bigger flounder can lay 1 million eggs. The smaller, like the Windowpane, it's not going to be 1 million eggs, but they lay a lot of eggs. So they will lay their eggs, and their eggs are pelagic. There's a really good vocab word for today, and that means that they stay floating in the water column. They don't settle to the bottom. They stay out in the open water. So millions of eggs, or 1 million eggs, they all hatch out. When they start out, the fry, the baby fish, the eyes are on both sides of the head. As they get older, their body begins to morph and they change shape, and over time, one of their eyes will migrate around their head to the point that it will be on both eyes on the same side of the head. Now you can see his fish is catching. We've started fish feeding today. That flounder just came up because it saw the food coming down. Those are chunks of fish. It looks like salmon today. They get lots of different kinds of fish, food that they're offered. So really, really cool. Now, you just got to see this fish eat, but you see it completely unburied itself so that it could come up and grab its food. And now you can see just how big it is. All right? Very, very cool. Now, I'm going to ask everybody, if you have questions, you can post your questions at any time. And also, if you put up where you're from so we know how far our program is reaching. And here we have a question. Where do the eggs come out from? So the eggs at the back of the fish, they have an opening right under the base of their tail, and they will lay their eggs from that opening. That's how they lay their eggs. Now you can see this fish is already got a little bit of sand blended in, so the camouflage is already kicking in. Now, the question came from New Jersey, and I want to say that these fish are found from Canada all the way along the coast of the U.S. So the whole eastern coast down to Florida, you can find these Windowpane flounder. Although my understanding is they're harder to find down in Florida than up in these northern parts. Okay, it's coming up again. Very cool. Look at it. Stretching out, looking around, seeing if there's any other fish chunks to eat. Let's see what it does. Is it going to bury itself? It would be really cool if you got to see how it buried itself, because they will flare, wave their their fins, and just bury themselves completely down into the summer flounder just ate a chunk of fish there too. So really cool that we're able to see this happen. Now, coming back over, we're going to take a look at our Windowpane, and I think it's already gotten darker. It is blending in with the darker side. So when this flounder is sitting on the surface of the sand, it has speckles. It looks like sand, right? But it's going to be able to blend in. Whether the sand is light or dark, it can get lighter or darker to blend in with the sand. What I'm going to do right now is I'm going to try and get the flounder to settle on the other side, on the white side of the tank, and we'll see if we're going to see if it lightens up. All right. It just swam into the net. That was interesting. Okay. So we'll just leave it keeps wanting to go to the dark side of the tank. Let's move away and see if it settles down. And we're going to go back over here. So we said that these fish will start out and their eyes actually have to rotate around their head. We have a question wondering what are their predators? Good question. You guys are really good at coming up with some good questions. What do they like to eat and what do they prey on? All good questions. So what preys on them are going to be larger fish and large crustaceans. So a lobster, if it could get them, would really like to eat them. Any of the larger crabs might try and eat them. When they get as large as this one, there's not as much that will try and eat them, but a really large fish may try and get them. If they come out to get into the water column, something big might try to eat them. So that's why they have to stay blended in. That's why they have to rely on their camouflage. Now, we feed them chunks of fish, so they will eat pieces of fish that they find floating around on the bottom as well. All right. Now, we're going to move back over here. The flounder is settled on halfway on the line, so we'll be able to tell in a second whether it has gotten lighter or darker. And I'm going to turn the light on. All right, do we have any other questions going here? All right, let's talk a little bit about the Nature Center programs. We do have, through the summer, we normally have programs that you can come visit, but since we are in this quarantine, this social distancing, we're going to keep on doing these programs as long as I possibly can. So we may run out of live animals at some point, and we may start talking about some of the other animals that are found in the park. I hope everybody doesn't mind if I don't have an actual live animal to look at, but we'll keep on doing these programs. You can find us on Facebook at 2 o'clock and 11 o'clock every day. I always do that in the reverse order. 11 and 2 every day you can watch these programs live. And you can continue to ask questions even after the program is over. You can post a question and we will still be able to see that question. So, this fish is not really settling down on the light side, and I don't want to stress it out too much. But if you look at that, you can see how well blended in that fish is. We're going to take it and put it back in our touch tank, where it can blend in with sand, which are naturally what it's going to be in. So let's see how fast. All right, you can see that it is a bit darker than the sand that's on the bottom here because it darkened up. And let's see where it settles down. Again, we're looking at our Windowpane Flounder. Picked a dark spot and almost immediately it's hard to see. If I move away, it's pretty hard. If we go like this, circle around, and then we'll come back and you can barely pick out that that flounder is right there. So camouflage, very, very important for this fish. It can blend in with the bottom, lighter or darker, depending on the bottom. Awesome fish there. All right. If anyone has any questions, you can post them anytime. We're going to flip the camera back, and I'm going to move back over here. So, let's go over our reminders one more time. We really need people to follow social distancing, especially in a state park. We want our state parks to stay open, and the way that we can do that is if everybody helps us by following the rules. So keep your social distance. Keep 3 possums away from anyone around you unless they're from the house that you're living in, okay? And make sure that you're washing your hands, you're coughing completely into your elbow. All these things are really important to help us get through this. I know these are tough times for everybody, and it's nowhere near as fun doing schoolwork at home than it would be in your classroom where you get to see your teacher and interact with your friends. But hopefully this gives you something that you can keep on going and enjoying yourselves. And I'm having a blast doing this. I really enjoy it. I love to see all of your comments. It's a wonderful experience for me to reach out to you and help you learn a little bit more about the natural world around you. And find out how amazing it is, because these animals are absolutely amazing. And I hope for the rest of the day you think your favorite animal is the flounder, the Windowpane flounder. Absolutely fascinating fish. So thank you again. Tune in back again at 2 o'clock. And right now, if you would like to go to our website, there is now another mesh net. If you tuned in yesterday, there was a mesh net in the Osprey platform. I was going to go out and get it out. It wasn't there when I got out there, but now there's an orange one in there. Yesterday was yellow, now there's an orange one. They dropped it off yesterday. The male decorates his nest and he picks colorful things that are around, so he found this orange mesh net. I'm going to go back and see if I can get that out of the nest. So if you go to the website, go to the Osprey camera, you can watch and see me try and get that mesh net out of the Osprey platform. So thank you all for tuning in, and maybe I'll see you on the Osprey camera.